Imagine waking up and seeing death on every side. Not a metaphor. Actual death. 100,000 soldiers surrounding your city, war elephants the size of buildings, armored knights that look like demons made of steel. And you've got 10,000 men, that's it. 10 against 100. The math says you're dead. The odds say you're finished. Every logical calculation points to total annihilation within days. But here's what nobody expected. Those 10,000 men didn't just survive. They didn't just hold on. They completely humiliated one of the most powerful empires on Earth. For 63 days straight, they turned impossible odds into a masterclass in warfare that military strategists still study 1,700 years later. This is the story of the siege of Nisibis, where Rome proved that numbers mean nothing when discipline, preparation, and sheer will collide. Let me take you there. The year is 350. The Roman Empire is bleeding from 1,000 cuts. Civil wars, barbarian invasions, brothers killing brothers for the throne. The empire has split into east and west, two halves barely holding together. And in the east, beyond the Euphrates River, the Sasanian Persian Empire is watching, waiting, hungry. For the Persians, this is personal. Rome controls lands they believe were stolen from them centuries ago. Mesopotamia, Syria, the trade routes carrying silk and spices and gold. All of it, in Persian eyes, belongs to them. And there's one city blocking their path to taking it all back: Nisibis. This isn't just any city. Nisibis controls everything: the trade routes, access to Syria, the gateway to Roman Anatolia. Lose Nisibis, and the entire Eastern Roman Empire collapses like a house of cards. The Persians know this. The Romans know this. That's why Nisibis has been fortified like nowhere else on Earth. 3 massive concentric walls, one inside the other. Towers every 50 meters. Ditches 15 meters wide filled with water. Gates reinforced with steel bands and oak beams half a meter thick. Underground warehouses packed with grain, oil, salted meat. Enough to feed the garrison for a year. Cisterns carved into bedrock holding 6 months of water. This place was built to withstand the end of the world. Now, Shapur II, King of Kings of Persia, is bringing that end to Nisibis. He was literally crowned before birth when his father died and his mother was still pregnant. Persian nobles placed the crown on her belly. He grew up with absolute power and one obsession: humiliate Rome. His grandfather was defeated by a Roman emperor. His father lost crucial battles. Now it's his turn to erase the shame. He's assembled the largest army the East has ever seen: 100,000 warriors, knights in full armor from Media, 10,000 archers who can hit targets at 200 meters while galloping, infantry carrying spears and religious fury, Arab mercenaries who know every inch of the desert, and 20 war elephants from India, massive beasts 3 meters tall, carrying towers with archers. For Romans who haven't seen elephants since Hannibal, these are creatures from nightmares. Standing against this horde is Emperor Constantius II, son of Constantine the Great. He doesn't have his father's luck or resources. His armies are scattered across 3 continents, fighting Goths on the Danube, watching Egypt, dealing with usurpers in the west. He can't send massive reinforcements to Nisibis. He has what's there: 10,000 legionaries, professional soldiers, veterans, men who know that discipline beats numbers. Spring turns to summer. Persian scouts flood the border. The mobilization is total. When the Persian army finally appears on the horizon, even hardened veterans feel their breath catch. It's one thing to hear numbers. It's another to see them. The banners wave like an ocean of silk. War elephants trumpet challenges that echo across the plains. Armored cavalry gleams like an army of metal demons. Constantius moves fast. Open battle is suicide, but behind walls with preparation, the mathematics change. He orders every weakness reinforced. Blacksmiths work until their hands bleed. Warehouses get packed tighter. Siege weapons positioned with precision. Ballistae, massive crossbows firing iron bolts at 300 meters. Onagers, catapults launching 30-kilogram stones that smash siege towers to splinters. The garrison is organized like a machine. Every legionary knows his position. Every centurion knows his sector. Medical teams prepare for the brutal wounds coming. Arrows that pierce flesh. Stones that shatter bones. Boiling oil that melts skin. Constantius walks every section of a wall personally, talks to soldiers, looks them in the eyes. He knows morale is as important as stone and steel. Then the Persians arrive. 100,000 tents cover the plain like a new city. The elephants parade in clear view, psychological warfare before a single arrow flies. June 1st. The siege begins. Shapur doesn't negotiate. He wants Roman blood. 20,000 Persian infantry march toward the walls carrying ladders, battering rams, shields. They advance shouting prayers, beating spears against shields. On the walls, Romans stay silent, disciplined, waiting. When Persians reach the ditch and start filling it to create crossing points, the Romans strike. Arrows whistle through the air, not random shots. Every archer aims at a specific target. Persians start dropping. Ballistae open fire. Meter-long iron bolts punch through 2 men at once. One bolt disintegrates a shield and the man behind it. But Persians keep coming. For every man who falls, 2 more step forward. They have numbers. They can afford losses. They fill the ditch with their own corpses, creating bridges of flesh and bone. Scaling ladders hit the walls. Persian warriors climb screaming challenges. Romans use long poles with iron hooks to push ladders away. Dozens of Persians fall into the ditch, smashing on rocks below. Those who reach the top find gladi waiting. Short Roman swords, lethal in close quarters. One thrust to the gut, one to the throat. No wasted movement. Just efficient killing perfected over centuries. 20 Persians establish a foothold on one tower. A centurion sees it and reacts. 20 reserve legionaries sprint to the tower, emerge behind the Persians. Trapped between 2 Roman formations, the Sasanians are massacred in minutes. Their bodies get thrown off the wall as a message. Shapur orders siege towers forward. Massive wooden structures, tall as the walls. The Roman onagers respond. 30-kilogram stones fly through the air. One hits a tower dead center, smashing timber and crushing men inside. The structure collapses, killing soldiers pushing it. Another tower reaches the wall. The drawbridge drops. Persians pour out shouting victory. But Romans hurl clay jars full of oil at the tower. Fire arrows follow. The oil ignites. The tower becomes an inferno in seconds. Men trapped inside burn alive. After 12 hours, Shapur orders retreat. The toll is brutal. 3,000 Persians dead or critically wounded. 150 Romans lost. A ratio of 20 to 1. On the walls, legionaries repair damage and treat wounds. No celebration. They know this was just the beginning. Shapur changes strategy. If he can't go over the walls, he'll go under. Persian engineers start digging tunnels toward the foundations. The plan is simple. Dig under the walls. Shore up tunnels with wooden beams. Fill spaces with flammable material. Set fire. When beams burn, the tunnel collapses and takes the wall down. But Roman engineers know this game. An old centurion orders bronze bowls filled with water positioned along the inner walls. Soldiers watch constantly. If water trembles, it means vibrations underground. It means enemy digging. Day 12. A legionary sees ripples in a bowl. He reports up the chain. Constantius orders countermeasures. If Persians dig under the walls, Romans will dig under the Persians. An invisible war begins underground. Narrow tunnels. Suffocating air. Men dig in 2-hour shifts before passing out from lack of oxygen. On day 18, the tunnels meet. Romans hear Persian voices through thin earth. They don't break through immediately. They wait. Dig parallel like a shadow. Persians reach the foundations. Create a chamber. Stack wood, resin, oil, everything ready. That night, Romans strike. Burst through with drawn swords. The fight underground is claustrophobic, terrifying. Torches go out. Men fight in near darkness, guided only by sound and screams. Persians get massacred. Then Romans do something clever. Instead of destroying the Persian tunnel, they divert an underground aqueduct. Water floods the tunnel. At dawn, Persian engineers find weeks of work submerged. Dozens drowned. The plan failed. Shapur orders 10 more tunnels simultaneously. Romans respond with 10 countermining teams. The underground war becomes a maze. On day 30, one Persian tunnel slips past unnoticed. Reaches foundations, creates chamber, sets fire. Persians wait for the collapse. Nothing happens. Roman engineers had foreseen this. The foundations don't rest on dirt, they rest on solid bedrock. The original builders dug down to stone before laying the first foundation blocks. The Persian tunnel collapsed only earth, not actual foundations. Persians try other approaches. Divert the river to thirst the city. But Romans have underground cisterns with 6 months of water and deep wells drawing from aquifers. The attempt fails. They build taller siege towers. Roman onagers destroy them one after another. They build earth ramps toward the walls. At night, Roman veterans slip out, set fire to the wooden support structures. The ramp collapses, burying hundreds of workers. Day 50. Shapur has lost 50,000 men. The walls still stand, but he doesn't accept defeat. One final assault with everything left. Total concentration of force at a single point. Day 63, unnatural silence. Then Persian trumpets sound. 70,000 warriors shout in unison. The war cry shakes the earth. Elephants advance first. 20 living colossi marching toward the walls. Ground trembles under their weight. Constantius raises his hand. 20 ballistae aim. His hand drops. Iron bolts whistle. 2 hit. One pierces an elephant's eye, kills it instantly. The colossus collapses like a falling mountain. Another bolt pierces a trunk. The wounded animal goes mad, charges into its own companions, creating chaos. But 17 elephants keep advancing. Reach the walls, press against gates. Romans pour boiling oil from above. Burns sensitive skin. Animals scream. Anti-elephant spears lower from parapets. 4-meter iron poles with massive tips. 20 legionaries per spear push downward. Tips pierce elephant backs, sever vital organs. Persian infantry reaches walls. Thousands of ladders rise. Combat on battlements becomes a meat grinder. Men slip on blood, fall from parapets. 50 Persians establish position on one tower. Constantius orders his personal guard to intervene. 100 elite legionaries charge. In 10 minutes the tower is retaken. Persian cavalry charges a weakened gate. 500 armored knights. Roman ballistae fire simultaneously. Bolts pierce armor, kill horses, but the charge continues. Cavalry reaches the gate, crashes against it. On the third impact, it begins breaking, but behind the gate. Romans have 30 legionaries with 4-meter spears pointed at horse chest height. When the gate breaks, cavalry pours through and impales itself. Horses die instantly. Knights fall, trapped in armor. Legionaries finished them through armor gaps. 300 cavalry dead in 5 minutes, 5 hours. 30,000 Persians dead or critically wounded. Walls still stand. Constantius orders something bold. Opens 3 side gates, 2,000 fresh legionaries pour out. Attack Persian flanks. The lateral attack catches them by surprise. Roman wedge penetrates Persian lines, kills, destroys, sows panic. Shapur sees his lines crumbling, sees defeat. For the first time, the King of Kings understands he's lost. He orders general retreat. Sasanian warriors flee, pursued by arrows. 15,000 corpses left behind. On the walls, Romans shout victory. 2,000 brothers dead, 3,000 wounded. But they won. 63 days. 100,000 Persians reduced to 50,000. The greatest defeat in Sasanian history. 10,000 prepared, disciplined men proved walls and will beat numbers and arrogance. But here's the brutal truth. 13 years later, a different Roman emperor handed Nisibis to Persia through a treaty. Not conquered, given away. Every drop of blood spilled on those walls, made meaningless by a pen stroke. That's the real lesson. Tactical brilliance means nothing without strategic vision. You can win every battle and still lose the war. But the principles still matter. Preparation beats numbers. Leadership beats resources. Discipline beats chaos. These truths work today exactly as they worked then. Every one of us faces our own sieges. Maybe not with swords and elephants, but with challenges that feel just as overwhelming. Outnumbered, surrounded, no help coming. The question is whether you have the discipline to prepare, the courage to stand, and the determination to outlast what's trying to break you. If this hit you different, hit that like button, subscribe for more. Drop a comment telling me which impossible victory you want next. Rome was victorious. Not because it was perfect, but because it refused to break.